All right, we're live.
We're live
Yeah, we're live. What's up,
on the
everybody?
interwebs.
On the internet.
It's sweet. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is good. Happy May 4th, everybody.
Dude, such a good day.
Yeah, we've got Austin, we've got Ghost in the chat. If you're here, just drop a chat, say hi.
I'm going to open the chat so I don't have to wait for you to tell me what they're saying if they say something about me.
Yeah, well, actually, I'd prefer if you didn't, because I'm hoping that everybody just trashes you in the chat.
Okay, I'll close the chat real fast then.
Please do. Just kidding.
It's just the roast of Hayden in your chat.
I've brought you here tonight via Zoom to roast you live on the internet. So,
dude,
there you go.
I was made for this day.
Yeah. Well, everybody, this is Hayden. A lot of you already know him because he often is playing Battlefront with me on the channel. So, maybe you don't.
I do love Battlefront.
Yeah, maybe you don't know what his face looks like. So here's his big face reveal. Woo!
This is me. Yeah. This is all of me.
In all of his glory. Oh, we got Connor here. What's up, Connor?
Dude, Connor.
I'm glad.
And he even said, "What's up, my dudes?"
Yeah. Yeah. I was, so Hayden and I, what was it, 2 years ago now? 2 summers ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 summers ago, Hayden and I, this was back when Hayden lived here in Idaho, but we had a podcast with our friend Ryan called My Dude's a Podcast.
Dude, it was great.
Yeah.
It was really great.
Honestly,
I miss those days.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I was just telling Hayden before this started that I didn't appreciate those My Dude's a Podcast days until they were gone, until they were done.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Dude, My Dudes, I look back on that fondly as like a dream of when we would be able to do our own ad reads for like Squarespace and those mattress companies.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't make it to that point. I think we got about 10 to 15 episodes in, and then we gave up on our dreams. But you found your real dream in calling.
Yeah,
here on Star Wars Corner.
I was always destined to do some Star Wars content. Rather, what was the content of My Dudes like?
Yeah, how can I explain My Dudes podcast in a sentence? It was kind of just like white dudes in their mid-20s mind popery, like just anything that we thought of that we were like, we should talk about this on the podcast. It was a lot of Reddit. It was a lot of YouTube content, and it was a lot of just inviting our friends on. So
yeah, we
also a lot of hubris that we thought that we were entertaining enough to have a podcast.
Well, I think my memory of My Dude's a Podcast was that was the summer that I got like strep and mono at the same time, and was bedridden for most of My Dude's a Podcast.
Yep.
I think some of the best episodes we did were actually just you and Ryan while I
That's not true.
While I was deathly ill. No, it is what it is.
I think our best episodes were okay. I'll say this: best performing episodes, and that was because we had guest hosts on there, and those guest hosts would share to like Facebook and Instagram that they were on there because we had like Jacob, and we had Matt on as well, right?
Yeah,
Matt Ahern,
Matt's
who's also in the chat. Yeah,
Matt's actually in the chat right now. So
yeah, we had Matt Ahern.
Guys. Yeah,
we would have had Connor, but he was living in a different state, in a different area of life as well.
Yeah, well, he wasn't working with you. We also didn't think Connor was that funny, anyways.
Oh, yikes! He's in the chat.
I'm kidding, man. Love you, Connor.
Connor's funnier than I am. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was the only reason that those episodes did well was because we had guest hosts on to fill your stead.
That's true.
It's a Herculean task to replace you on the podcast, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
All these compliments are going to end at the half-hour mark, and I'm just going to straight roast you after this.
So stay tuned.
Don't get used to it.
Yeah. Stay tuned for 30 minutes in when I just get roasted.
Yeah. I actually have a throne over here that I haven't pulled out. I guess I'd stay over here since you can't see the whole room. But
yeah. Well,
I'm going to have you sit in it, and we'll just roast you.
So are we in your living room or what?
No, this is our second bedroom,
Okay.
and it's mainly just an office. So you can't see, but like right over here is like Sarah's setup. So she does all of her work over there, and then I do all my work here. But
gotcha.
It's like work and play because I have like my PC, but I also have like my Xbox One hooked up to the same monitor. So
work and play.
Honestly, I will like export like videos for work, and then I have a little HDMI switcher, and I just switch it over, and I'll play Apex with you guys until the export's done, and then I'm like, all right, gotta go. So it's a business.
We're being called the Hat Boys. I assume because we're both wearing a hat.
Yeah. Mainly because it's quarantine and my hair's crazy. I don't do my hair during quarantine, so.
Yeah, I haven't had a haircut so my last haircut was actually Connor, who's in the chat right now, got married back in March something, March 20th.
Yeah.
That was my last haircut. The day before that was my last haircut.
I wouldn't have called you on that date if you just went with it.
Well, Connor could easily call me on it, so that's why I'm stressed about getting the correct date there. So
yeah.
Well, let's. Today's May the 4th, right?
May the 4th.
Star Wars Day. So
yeah.
And Hayden, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate yourself as a Star Wars fan? Obviously, 1 being I've never seen it before, 10 being I live and breathe Star Wars.
I would say that I am a 6 on that scale.
A 6?
Also a 6 in real life. Like if you're going to rate me, I would say a 6 in both areas.
You are an Idaho 10.
I'm an Idaho 10.
An Idaho 10.
What does that make me for Seattle though?
A 6.
Yeah, a 6. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I would say a 6 mainly because I am not as invested in it as you are, Chris.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy the series. But I've never read any of the books or the comic books. Graphic novels.
I call them comics.
Yeah. But I've played the video games, watched the series, and I watched quite a bit of YouTube content, mainly because a lot of the YouTubers out there, including yourself, Chris, have really good content. So
thanks, man.
The only creator besides you that I can name is Eckhart's Ladder, but for whatever reason, I will watch one of those videos and just get lost in it because there's so much about Star Wars that I don't know, which is fun.
Yeah, Eckhart's Ladder is awesome. He does some good stuff. He somehow, so last night, I know you're not up on the Clone Wars, but last night the finale dropped, and a lot of regions, got the final episode, a couple hours early. But Eckhart's Ladder, I think he lives in Canada or something, and he got it early enough that his breakdown of the episode was out, 6 hours before it premiered in a lot of places.
Yep.
So he's pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't think they're Star Wars only, but also New Rockstars. I watch a lot of New Rockstars' content about Star Wars. So
Austin in the chat is mentioning another channel, Star Wars Theory, and that's my favorite one, and he's super good.
Yeah, I don't know if I probably have watched a Star Wars Theory video, but just not looked at the channel. Have. So
he's cool because he's 100%, no doubt about it. You can tell he's just a Star Wars fan, and he's just making content because he likes Star Wars, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I think he's also. Okay. I mean, he's one of the first ones who kind of did this style of channel, but
yeah.
Okay. So you'd say you're a 6.
I would say I'm a 6 on the scale. 7 seems a little too high, but.
Yeah, well, that's
I'd say 6.
That's what Connor's claiming is a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit higher than myself. I'd like to challenge him to. I'd like to do Star Wars trivia against him and see where we rank.
You should, and then Austin and Ghost are flexing on us with 10, 100, 9,000 even. Yeah.
Over Over
Over
9,000.
9,000.
That's a Dragon Ball
That's
reference.
Dragon Ball Z reference. Come on, man.
I like the cross fandom reference right there.
You know nothing, Austin.
Now you just throw Game of Thrones in there.
More cross references. So
yeah. So I'd say a 6 for sure.
So speaking of not invested, one thing that we have to talk about before we kind of move on with tonight is the fact that you have not even seen Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. I didn't do my research, but when did Rise of Skywalker come out? Was that Christmas time?
Yeah, it was December 19th or something like that.
Okay, so I had done the wrong thing, and I had read that it was getting poor reviews. Mm-hmm. So I justified, like, I don't want to spend however much money it is. It's expensive to go to a movie theater up in Seattle. I mean, it's expensive anywhere where you live, but like the closest movie theater to me is AMC, and AMC is not a cheap movie theater. So in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to spend the money because it's not getting great reviews. I could watch this at home or wherever, or I would just wait till it came out at the cheaper like dollar theaters or discount theaters. So I waited, and then COVID hit, and I was like, all right, well, I guess at this point I really am not going to see it in theaters at all. And then you did tell me the other day that it's out on Disney Plus today. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just
That's so fitting.
Actually.
Yeah, I feel bad about it, but I assume at some point in this conversation you'll probably ask me about my first movie theater experience with Star Wars, and I don't want to give away
how'd you know
any more about that.
It's like
how'd I know?
It's like I sent you an outline with some things that we might talk about tonight.
Well, did you didn't include in the outline, did you?
I don't know.
I don't think you did. So I mean, I looked at the outline like 5 minutes before we started. So
yeah, and I created the outline like 10 minutes before we started.
Yeah.
When you
so
were
we're super prepared for this.
Yeah, we for you guys watching, we hopped on the Zoom call like 30 minutes before going live, just to make sure everything was all good. And I had told Hayden earlier in the day that I was going to send him an outline of what we'd talk about tonight, and halfway through, like it was probably like 15 minutes into our Zoom call, and he's like, "Hey, did you send me that outline?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that right now." And then I quickly typed up an outline and sent it to him. So
yeah, I usually do better off script. So
yeah, well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So I don't want, one of the ground rules, I think I told you this, and hopefully people that have been watching my channel for the last month or so know this, but one of the things I don't want to do is bash Star Wars, even if it is like a movie that I wasn't super pumped about. So first, with that in mind, I'm gonna ask you first, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
That's such a tough question because obviously there's so many good ones and I enjoy all of them. But if I had to, like, where my brain went immediately was Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
I would say Revenge of the Sith just because even though people have a lot of hate towards the portrayal of Anakin by Hayden Christensen, I really enjoyed his portrayal of him. And it might be because we share the same name that I enjoyed Hayden Christensen, but that movie to me, it felt like it went to a deeper emotional spot than the first three, which is also just like, I mean, if you watch some of the older movies that were made in that time, I don't think that they were super interested in those, in the emotional depths of where movies could go. And maybe it's just the movies I watched from that time. I think I watched the only movies I've really watched from that era of when the original trilogy came out was action movies. So that could be unfair, but Revenge of the Sith to me was probably my favorite. I think the video effects were so fun.
Yeah.
And I think they just did a great job with it, but I would say my second favorite would probably be Empire. I'd say Empire for sure because honestly, as a kid, all I can remember is how much fun it was playing with those AT-ATs, and just imagining that you were on Hoth was so much fun. But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
those are solid. I
yeah,
think I'm with you. I'm looking at the chat right now, and I'm seeing that Ghost is also a Revenge of the Sith fan.
yeah.
Austin's asking why Episode 5 is so slept on, and I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that's true. I think a lot of people, if you ask what their favorite Star Wars movie is, one of the like resounding answers is Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm with you. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite, and it's
Mm-hmm.
largely nostalgia. I
Yeah.
mean, I was 10 or 11 when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I got to skip
Yeah.
school the next day to see it in theaters, and that was the first like Star Wars experience that like I had to wait
Yeah.
and anticipate what was coming next, because I'd been introduced to Star Wars when basically, like, I mean, Attack of the Clones was already out, Episode 2 was
Yeah.
already out, so like I got to binge all 5 movies at the time within a week or whatever. But then it was Revenge of the Sith that I had to wait a while and anticipate what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But also, like, I mean, if we're going to talk on a deeper level, I like that of all the movies, it has a dark ending. Like, the bad guys win. And I don't know, maybe that makes me sound pessimistic or whatever, but I don't know. You can go anywhere and watch a movie where the good guys win and it's a happy ending, and that's great.
Yeah.
But it's kind of refreshing and more realistic to once in a while get a story where it doesn't turn out well and the bad guys do win.
I don't remember how old we were when Revenge of the Sith came out, but I didn't really, as a kid, I didn't pay attention to like storyline at all. I was just interested in the action and how things looked. I was genuinely, and I'm not kidding, I was genuinely shocked when Anakin became Darth Vader at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
What?
I watched the first 3, and then I had no idea when Revenge of the Sith came out that they were prequels. I thought they were sequels when I was a kid.
So what did you like when you saw like Yoda alive, who died in Empire Strikes Back, or young Obi-Wan, or no Luke Skywalker? What did you think?
Dude, I was a kid, man. I had no idea.
Dude, we were the same age. I was in like, we were both in 5th grade when Revenge of the Sith came out.
Yeah, I wasn't. My teachers always told me that I had a lot of potential, but I didn't live up to it. And I think that's kind of what they were getting at, is I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed as a kid. So
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Not about,
yeah.
Sound like a bad friend there, but.
No, I remember watching it and the mask went on and I was like, wait.
You're like, it's the Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did he get Darth Vader's armor? Luke burned that in the last.
and then I go back and watch it a second time, and I'm like, man, this foreshadowing is so epic. Yeah. Like, it's so clear that Anakin is going to become Darth Vader. I
didn't, obviously, as a 5th grader, when I first saw like all the prequel movies, there's so much politics going on. Like, politics are crucial to the story there. That all went over my head.
Yep,
like,
exactly.
The crazy, like, it wasn't until like high school or college that I realized, wait, the crux of this story is that this politician, this Chancellor Palpatine, is in power way longer than he should be, and is just kind of really setting himself up subtly to become the Emperor. And I never picked up on that. I always thought it was weird when Revenge of the Sith rolls around and Palpatine just kind of announces himself, I'm the Emperor. As a 5th grader, I was like, how can you do that? You can't do that.
Yeah.
And well, that's the politics of Episode 1 and 2, setting it all up. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I got to college and they released House of Cards on Netflix, and I was able to watch a show that was purely about politics, I went back and watched like movies like Star Wars that had a political like intrigue plot, and I was so much more fond of it, but also kind of understood like, oh, you can't just have like 2 hours or 3 hours of action with no meaning. So but yeah, I was being vulnerable there, telling you what happened, and I feel like you just mocked me for the fact that I didn't understand the prequels at all. But
I just, you know, it is what it is. Quick sidebar here for the chat. Hayden and I, we're gonna keep talking about Star Wars and different specifics, but later in the stream, we're gonna answer questions that you guys have.
Yeah.
So make sure you're dropping questions about Star Wars in the chat, whether it's like trivia stuff or opinions that you want to know. Maybe you want to know Hayden's favorite way to die in Star Wars. I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah, something weird
something like that. So just drop comments in the chat. I'll try to keep up on them. Yeah. But yeah. So
Chris, I have a topical would you rather.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
This one is going to be less silly, but more since you've watched Star Wars at least more than once.
Yeah.
Would you rather your first experience of Star Wars be the first episode, Phantom Menace?
Okay.
Or would you have rathered it be the way that you grew up with? So watching A New Hope being the first movie you saw.
So it's funny that you ask this because on my Instagram, which, by the way, I will have a link to the Star Wars Corner Instagram account in the description of this eventually. So yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
On my Instagram this morning, I put a poll out there for like favorite Star Wars characters, and I promise in a roundabout way I'm going to answer your question. And one of our mutual friends, Stacy, messaged me, and she does not care about Star Wars at all.
Yeah.
And I don't even think she's ever seen Star Wars. But she asked me that question, what Star Wars movie should I start with? And initially I wanted to say A New Hope, because that's how I started on Star Wars. And to answer your question, Hayden, that's how I would start again. Mm-hmm. I think I would start again on A New Hope just because it's the first one, and my mind works that way. Like, the first one made, I want to watch that one first so that I can see the story progression, but also the progression in just the way that they pulled off Star Wars. Like, there's a monumental difference in production and even style from A New Hope to Rise of Skywalker. Like, you know, you can't argue that, but I responded to her, and I basically told her that. I was like, well, you could start with A New Hope, but keep in mind that is a movie from the 70s. So special effects and stuff like that's not going to be on par with what you're used to.
Yeah.
But you could start with Episode 1 of Phantom Menace, which is like chronologically the first one of all the movies. And that might be a good medium ground. I don't know if that's the best first Star Wars experience.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good middle ground between old movie that doesn't quite make sense and somewhat of a modern movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think at the end of the day, personally, I would say I would want to start with A New Hope again, but that's because I know what I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that the prequels did such an amazing job of making you care and love about Obi-Wan, because I feel like when I watched the original trilogy, I had very little like, I don't even know what the right word is. I wasn't emotionally invested when Obi-Wan died in the first episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I mean, this is just a typical fantasy trope of you have a wise leader and he either dies or sacrifices himself.
Right.
But after watching the prequels and coming back to it, you start to feel like, oh man, this death means something. This character has gone through a lot. And especially remember that video I sent you a while ago about Obi-Wan what is he? He's talking to Luke about his father,
Mm-hmm.
and it does flashbacks to Obi-Wan and Anakin in the
Yeah.
prequels, and that was an emotional video. Like I'm not a Star Wars fan to the level that you are, but I was
Right.
like, man, this kind of makes me wish that I watched the first 3 so I would have a deeper appreciation for at least just the first episode, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously those movies stand alone by themselves. You don't need to watch the prequels, but I think if you were like me growing up who didn't really care about Obi-Wan, you just wanted to see lightsaber fights and Han Solo, it doesn't really matter, but
Right. Yeah, no.
But also the lightsaber fights are better in the prequels too.
They are. Well, and did you watch the Empire of Dreams documentary on? It's on Disney Plus and Hulu, I think.
No, I did not watch that.
It's a 2-hour documentary on the original trilogy. And one of the things that George Lucas said was pertaining to lightsaber battles was in the prequels you see like they're way slower paced, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of two-handed lightsaber, looks like they're fighting with like swords kind of thing, slower pace. I mean, we're all thinking it a little bit more boring to watch, right?
Yeah.
And but then in the prequels, I mean, you've got like Darth Maul doing backflips everywhere, and like the lightsaber fights are way faster paced, everything like that.
Yeah.
And in the interview, George Lucas was like, "Yeah, it's that way because in the prequels, the Jedi had been wiped out, or not in the prequels, in the original trilogy, the Jedi have been wiped out. They're kind of relics of the past. Their teachings and all of that isn't relevant anymore or prominent. But the prequel era, they're at like the height of their power. They're ballers with a lightsaber, so that's why they're so much cooler."
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I mean, as a Star Wars nerd, you as a 6 Star Wars nerd might not care about this, but for me, as like a 10 or whatever, top of the scale, I'm always looking for like the in-story explanation to things, not just the like real life explanation of, you know, whatever. I want to see like why in canon, why in the Star Wars universe are lightsaber battles different in the prequels than in the original trilogy.
Yeah, I think the tough part is like you can do so much work in the story to explain why lightsaber battles got less epic, but the biggest thing that I don't understand is why in Rogue One at the end of the movie they had Darth Vader just decimate like what was that 10 rebels in that airlock, and then you go to like A New Hope and he just looks like the oldest dude in the world fighting Obi-Wan. That's like I don't understand why they included that scene, because I think if anything it made it's like, did he just age tremendously? And what that's supposed to take place, that airlock fight is like what, minutes before the first movie starts?
I mean it's almost a seamless transition.
Yeah, so that's the only part where I watched that, and I'm just like, man, did he just get really tired after fighting those guys?
Yeah,
and he's just been
tired. He still hadn't recovered. No, to me, I think the lightsaber fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan in A New Hope, obviously, like the obvious answer to why it was so slow paced and lame looking is because it was the first lightsaber fight ever. They were still fleshing that concept out and everything. But to me, I think the in-story explanation is that lightsaber fight, I think Obi-Wan went into that knowing that like he was going to give himself up and he was going to lose that fight. And I think Darth Vader also knew it was going to be their final encounter, and it was less about a test of their skill, like Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan and Anakin have that duel on Mustafar. It's less about their skill with a lightsaber and more of almost like closure between the two. Yeah. I know you're not up on the Clone Wars, so I doubt you're up on Rebels. But
actually, I've watched all of Rebels.
Okay, that's a surprise. All right.
No, so, I haven't seen Rebels.
Yeah, so it's similar. Spoilers for anybody in the chat that cares about this, but Darth Maul's character ends with he finds Obi-Wan, an old Obi-Wan. This is like 5 years before A New Hope, and he finds him on Tatooine and confronts him, that fight is the same. It's quick. It happened like there's not any impressive lightsaber dueling. It's over as quick as it begins, and I think it's because for those characters with Obi-Wan, it wasn't about lightsaber skill or actually winning the fight. It was more about, okay, this is closure for this relationship.
Yeah.
This is closure for Darth Maul was a piece of the past. He was an enemy from the Clone Wars from back then. Let's just finish it. Let's just get it done.
For sure.
Moved on past that. Same with Vader and Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I think what's so impressive about Revenge of the Sith is if you look at that final confrontation between, well, not final, but final to that movie, that final confrontation between Obi-Wan and Anakin is if you were to cut out all of the talking and all of the, because at that point they're still cross stitching, right? You still go to other scenes in the movie while that fight's happening, because that fight is like an hour long when you look at all of the cross stitching that they do. But what's interesting is if you take out all the audio and just focus on the lightsabers hitting each other, that is still super interesting. It's a really well choreographed fight scene.
Yeah.
And if you were to move all the lightsabers hitting each other and the fighting happening, it would be a very interesting conversation as well.
Totally.
Like they did an amazing job in Revenge of the Sith making a lightsaber battle interesting, but also meaningful as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that scene, I mean, when it's like towards the end and Obi-Wan's like yelling at Anakin, he's like, "You were the chosen one," or yeah. I mean, it's just like super emotional, and I think it's because, to your point earlier, we've seen the original trilogy at this point. We've seen how Obi-Wan and Darth Vader's relationship ends.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship. So seeing it like in Revenge of the Sith is just makes it that much more meaningful.
Yeah. That whole I should probably go through and watch the Clone Wars. Is it called The Clone Wars, even though that's the name of the movie as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Clone Wars TV show, because to me that's the most interesting part of Star Wars so far is Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. One of the things that before I get onto this thought, I want to shout out to Rylan, who is watching. He like, we were neighbors growing up. He lived in the house behind us, and him and his brother Darian, and then a couple other people that lived in the neighborhood. Like, all of us would just congregate in our backyards and just recreate these lightsaber duels, and
that's awesome.
It was good times. So
also awesome names.
Yeah.
Rylan and what is it? Darian? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're cool.
Day ones.
Yep, day ones.
That's awesome.
Anyways, one of the things that I think is interesting to think about is, what if Qui-Gon Jinn survived? So, Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon had basically volunteered to release Obi-Wan as his Padawan and be like, all right, Obi-Wan can go to the next step. He doesn't need me anymore. Yeah. I'll train Anakin. Okay. What if Qui-Gon trained Anakin? What do you think?
I think that Anakin would definitely become way more of a hippie than he currently is.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon was such a space hippie. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like, do we ever get a shot? Because he wore robes almost all the time. Mm-hmm. Nah, he probably didn't wear robes during the Darth Maul fight, did he?
No. Remember they have that whole derobing scene? They're just like
dramatically
taking off their robes.
I like to imagine that Qui-Gon always wore Birkenstocks. He just seems like such a space hippie. But
I mean,
besides that, I think that if Qui-Gon Jinn trained Anakin, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think it would be the same result, because I think that Obi-Wan he was the best master for Anakin, but Qui-Gon just had this thing about him. He was so different than Obi-Wan, you know? Like,
See,
such a chill. I would love to go camping with Qui-Gon.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know that I'd want to go
Yeah.
camping with Obi-Wan. I know that
No.
Obi-Wan would go camping and he would be prepared. He would have everything we need, but he would make it a stressful situation. Qui-Gon would be like, let's just go camping.
Yeah.
We'll have a fire. We'll chat. Whatever.
Dude.
So
he would not chat with you, though. He would just meditate the whole time.
No, yeah. Well, okay. So here's the thing. We're now like diving into Star Wars characters and their personalities.
Yeah.
Anytime I take it like one of those BuzzFeed quizzes or anything like that, that's like, all right, answer these questions and we will tell you what Star Wars character has the same personality as you. I always get matched up with Obi-Wan. And
really?
Yeah, because and I see it. Like he's a guy that's like by the book. He is always anxious about the ways that things could go wrong. He's always prepared, playing it safe, whatever.
Yep.
That's me. I relate to that, and I think that's why I think like Qui-Gon's just so different in that he's go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, deep dive here, but if we like look at a lot of other like canon appearances of Qui-Gon, that's why he always clashes with the Jedi Council, is because he's like, nah, I'm not gonna be defined by that stereotype. I'm gonna do this. And, but
Qui-Gon would be pretty sick to hang out with, though.
So all that to say, I think I disagree with you, and I think that if Qui-Gon had trained Anakin, things would have turned out a lot better. I think that
really,
I think that Qui-Gon was the master that Anakin needed because Qui-Gon was so like go with the flow, whatever. Like let's follow the will of the Force rather than by the book, stay by the rules, whatever. And that's like at the end of the day, that was Anakin's tension with the Jedi, is that they were so stuck in their ways and they were so like dogmatic or legalistic even. And the Clone Wars kind of sheds more light on that than the movies do. The movies make it look like Anakin's main tension was that he wanted to be married to Padme and the Jedi wouldn't be pumped about that, which that's a huge part of it, but I guess
I just ride too hard for Obi-Wan.
Yeah. No, Obi-Wan's easily one of my favorite characters. I love him, but I don't think he was the best master for Anakin.
What do you think Anakin would look like if Yoda was his master?
I think it'd be similar to Obi-Wan.
Okay, what do you think Anakin would look like if Mace Windu was his master?
I think he'd quit. Dude, Mace Windu's the worst. Like, when I was a kid, I thought he was the coolest Jedi just because he had a purple lightsaber, and I was like, you can't have a purple lightsaber and not be cool. But now I realize, like, Mace Windu was the worst.
Yeah, like, I would agree.
Yeah,
Mace Windu was fun, but he was not a great guy all around.
Nah, he was just kind of a butt. Oh, we've got Jacob King here in the chat.
Oh, Qui-Gon was cool. Ian McGregor was the worst. Wow.
That's such a hot take. So,
Qui-Gon was cool. Obi-Wan was cool. Ian McGregor. I do not agree with that. I love Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, I think Ewan McGregor carried the prequel trilogy. So
I don't know who else. I mean, I liked Samuel L. Jackson as a kid, and I still really like all the movies he's in, and I think he's a great actor.
Big Snakes on a Plane fan.
Dude, every Christmas I rewatch Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, every Christmas? Yeah. It's a good Christmas movie.
Some people do Die Hard, but I'm always Snakes on a Plane and Sharknado. Yeah. So.
Oh, Jacob and I are on the same wavelength. He just dropped a Snakes on the Plane reference.
Wow.
Oh man.
I will say, like, my favorite Mace Windu moment was in Revenge of the Sith, right? When he attacks that like Coliseum that they have Padme and.
No, it's Attack of the Clones.
Okay, so it is Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was, but you're right, because she's not pregnant in Attack of the Clones.
No.
Wow, that's why I'm a 6 on the scale.
Yeah, You're talking about when Mace Windu is like, "This party's over."
Yep. That is the best moment of that movie.
Yeah, that's true. Mace Windu is just sweet at face value, but the more you dig into his character, you're like, you're kind of a butt. Like, you are the reason the Jedi are the worst at that time period. But
yeah. That being said, is Mace Windu isn't a playable character on Battlefront 2, is he?
No, not on the current version. Like the
that
original,
would be so sick.
2005 Battlefront, he is, but that'd be sweet.
Could you imagine all the quips they would have for him whenever he's talking? It would be so funny.
This party's over, mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's all he says.
Yeah.
It's just yeah.
Yeah, anyways. But we'll keep it PG.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. That's what we need to. I respectfully disagree that Anakin would be better off with Qui-Gon, but this is your show and your area of expertise. So
I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna make a video on it just to prove you wrong.
I would like you to make a documentary of like the moment you realize that you and I just cannot be friends anymore, and it's just replays this clip over and over again, and they interview you. You're like an old man, and you're like, just the ignorance and stupidity of that comment. I just could not be around that man anymore.
It's like it all started with that smile.
That
darn smile.
It was arrogant. It was cocky.
Yeah.
He came onto my show, trying to tell me who would be better. Yeah.
Even though I asked for his opinions.
Yeah. I just want everyone to know that my opinions have been censored out, and I'm reading verbatim from a script right now. There we go.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I got that line right.
How's your teleprompter doing?
It's a little slow. I have to scroll every couple minutes. It gets stuck. But
all right, good. Well, Austin is saying that Jar Jar is the best, and if you disagree, I'll face you in a saber battle. I'm gonna throw that one to you, Hayden.
Do I get a lightsaber?
Yeah, you do.
Or is he just attacking me with a lightsaber?
I think he's just attacking you with a lightsaber, but you probably get a lightsaber. I don't
know. If we do, I would want Darth Maul's lightsaber. I think that I would inevitably chop one of my own arms off with a dual. What is that? What would you even call that? A dual-ended lightsaber? What's the official word for that? Is the Star Wars fandom have a name for that? But
double-bladed, I don't know.
Double-bladed, yeah. I feel like I would inevitably just cut my own like side open with that, but I really want one so bad. But that's what I would fight him with, and I think that I would lose. I don't think that he would beat me. I would just defeat myself in the opening moments of the fight.
That's fair. That would be kind of funny to watch. So,
but Jar Jar is the worst. I said I wouldn't hate on the Star Wars fandom, but Jar Jar was the worst.
Great. According to the chat, Austin is now going to speak Gungan for the rest of it because he said that. So, I don't know.
Isn't Gungan just like an offensive Jamaican stereotype, or the actual language?
Probably.
I'm just kidding. You do you, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Please speak.
I'll keep my hot takes to myself.
Yeah, hot takes. So we've covered your favorite Star Wars movie, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What would you say is your least favorite Star Wars movie?
Okay, least favorite Star Wars movie. Attack of the Clones.
Okay. All right. Why?
I like the way you pose that question, least favorite, because they're all great. Yeah. I enjoy like if you put Star Wars in front of me for 2 hours and said you have to watch this, at no point am I going to be like, oh man, this sucks.
Yeah.
Star Wars is Star Wars. Star Wars is fun. So, it was between that and A New Hope. I think I told you that New Hope is like not up there on my list of favorites, but to me, Attack of the Clones just feels very like transitional. Like I don't watch that movie and be like, man, I don't have to watch Star Wars anymore. Like if I'm watching Attack of the Clones, I need to watch more Star Wars because it is a self-contained story. Like you could just watch that and be fine with it. But ultimately, like I don't really feel like it does a whole lot story-wise. It moves you from where we were at in Phantom Menace to Revenge of the Sith. But in terms of just like, if I have to pick one movie just to watch in a night, that is never going to be my choice. It just does not satisfy all the things. Also, I just feel like Anakin is way too angsty in that movie. Like he is just going through some real emo stuff at that point.
Absolutely.
So Matt said Hayden no, but I'm not. The chat's delayed, so I'm not sure what he's referring to. I think it might be because I said A New Hope on my second least favorite.
So because he that's what he started watching Star Wars on and loved it, which is great. I respect that.
Yeah, I will not say that A New Hope is a bad movie. New Hope is a great movie. But if we're gonna go through ranking them, not my favorite. But also like in the original trilogy, the real movie that I love and I could just watch by itself all day is Empire. I think Return of the Jedi is probably one of the movies I've seen the least out of all of the 6. I guess you would include 9 for the Skywalker trilogy or saga, but what?
Yeah, sure.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not including like Rogue One and
we're just talking the 9 Skywalker saga.
But films. Return of the Jedi, right? That's the last one. I feel like you made a face like I said something incorrect.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, I feel like with Return of the Jedi, that's the one I've watched the least, and it's just because I love Empire, and I feel like that's how you do a middle movie in a trilogy.
Absolutely.
Like you need to leave it kind of not on like such a downer bad note, but yeah. I feel pretty confident in saying Attack of the Clones is my least favorite.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Matt says he unconditionally supports A New Hope.
I don't want to say like anything bad about it, but also at the same time, I just feel like there's too much in that movie. You know?
Yeah.
Like they go through so much in that movie. Like the movie to me, I feel like it should end when Obi-Wan dies. Like the fact that they go and do a Death Star run after that and they destroy the Death Star, the first one, I'm just like, man, this could have been in another movie.
I don't know. I think Obi-Wan dying is like the catalyst that kind of pushes Luke forward, that's fair. Which is the archetype. Like you've got the old master, gray-haired guy that is a mentor and has been a crutch for the hero, and then as soon as that mentor figure is gone in whatever capacity, the hero now has to figure things out for themselves.
But at the same time, I would say that I really liked The Force Awakens, and The Force Awakens is basically just a retread of New Hope. Right. Well, so maybe it's just the technology advancements of Force Awakens that makes me like New Hope.
Well, two things, and then I want to highlight Austin's comment after these two things. But first, one, you got to keep in mind with A New Hope, like when that was created, George Lucas had the mindset that it was just going to be a one-and-done movie. So they packed so much into it because they didn't know if there was going to be a sequel or not. I think George Lucas had like the idea that, I'd like this to be a multi-movie thing, but I don't know if that'll be the case. So let's make a standalone story within one film and see where it goes. Yeah. Second thing I was thinking of, you said Force Awakens, you talked about the comparison between Force Awakens and A New Hope. Yeah. A lot of parallels. But if we're talking about like good times to end a movie, you said A New Hope, maybe it was a good time to end after Obi-Wan got killed. The parallel to that in Force Awakens, Han Solo dies also while the Death Star run is happening. So they almost kind of compressed it all together and made it one like fluid motion.
And that's why I think like I think maybe the reason why I favor Force Awakens over A New Hope is basically just the technology advancements of how we make movies. But I think that the hard part is he didn't know if he was going to make a second one or a third one and go forward.
Right.
To me, that first movie, I'm just like, man, movies have changed a lot. Obviously, our attention span is a lot shorter for movies. But I remember watching A New Hope. What did Disney Plus come out? Because that's when I rewatched all the Star Wars again.
Like November or something like that.
Yeah, so I watched A New Hope in November, and I just remember watching it and being like, man, this movie is slow. Like,
Yeah.
not anything bad about the story or any of the characters. It just felt like kind of a slow movie to me.
Yeah.
And Force Awakens at times feels a little bit too much breakneck. Like, it's just bam, bam, bam.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a happy compromise somewhere
Right.
in there. So
Before I've got thoughts on that. In the chat, Austin, you said that you can predict what Star Wars characters we are. Please do that in the chat. Predict what Star Wars character you think we are. We'll talk about that after we get your prediction.
Well, I'm a 7 on the Enneagram, so obviously I'm Jar Jar. And you're a 6 on the Enneagram, so obviously you're C-3PO.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's like the meanest Enneagram projections.
I think the difference also between A New Hope and Force Awakens is obviously the technology and the where movie making has come, but A New Hope it's world building. It's building the world of Star Wars, whereas Force Awakens is building off of that. So I think that's part of the reason they were able to go fast paced is because they don't have to explain that the galaxy is big and we can travel across the galaxy with this thing called hyperspace, or there's these big planet killing things out there. Got to explain why that's dangerous.
A New Hope walked, so A Force Awakens can run.
Exactly. One small step for Star Wars. That. Yep. I'll raise my Boba Fett mug to that. There you go.
What does the word say on it?
He's no good to me dead.
That's true.
I had this mug at work the other day. It was just sitting by the copier.
Yeah.
But it was facing this way so that our receptionist, she walked past and she was like, "Why does your mug say he's no good to me dead?" And then I flipped it around and I was like, "It's Boba Fett." And she was like, "Again, answer the question, please."
Who's Robert Fett?
Yeah, who's Bobby Felt? Okay, so
who's Captain Rex? Because you seem like Captain Rex is what.
You poor
DMD.
You poor ignorant person. Captain Rex he's a clone trooper in the Clone Wars.
Oh, okay.
He's like the captain that is in charge of all the clones that serve under Anakin Skywalker. So, and he's been a really important character in the last few episodes of Clone Wars. So,
okay. Yeah, I need to watch Clone Wars.
You need to at least, I'll come up with a list of essential episodes that you need to watch so that you don't have to spend all your time watching the show.
Yeah.
But there are some that are important Star Wars.
Yeah.
So Austin, I'm Captain Rex. I'd like to hear your reasoning behind that, but because I'm not convinced on that, but I could also see it. I also want to hear who is Hayden. Who is Hayden in the Star Wars universe? So
yeah, on a very quick get to know me, who am I?
Yeah.
I will accept Qui-Gon Jinn, and that is all. So.
All right, cool. Well, you get Rose Tico or
Jar Jar.
Jar Jar, yeah.
Jar Jar knows how to have a good time. Yeah. So, you said you asked me for my least favorite Star Wars movie. Can I now tell you what my first Star Wars movie in theaters was?
Yeah, definitely.
I was talking to Brian Cobley about this today. One of my coworkers that Chris also knows, and it's kind of sad, but my first. I have such a hard time even saying it, but because I know I'm going to get lit up in the comment section. The first movie that I saw in theaters, not the first Star Wars movie I saw, but the first Star Wars movie in theaters was Rogue One.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that was the first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters.
So I get that you didn't see Revenge of the Sith in theaters. That makes sense. That makes sense. You were 10 years old or whatever. Fine. Yeah. The crazy thing is, we were in college when Force Awakens came out, and okay, don't take this the wrong way, Hayden.
Yeah.
But you are very much often, when it comes to like pop culture and like music, movies, you are a person that will jump on the bandwagon, so to speak.
Yep.
So Force Awakens, when that came out, the amount of hype around that Star Wars was coming back, I cannot believe that you didn't jump on that hype.
Yeah. I think for me, there's no good explanation. I'm gonna start off by saying, there's really no good reason why I went and saw, or I didn't go and see Force Awakens. What I will say is, I don't go to the movies that often, and when I do go to the movies, it's for like a non-bingeable movie.
That's right. I'm sorry, I'm cracking up so much because I just read Austin's comment about you and.
What did he say?
He did. It's not even. I don't.
You're wearing a blue shirt, so you're R2D2. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know why I thought that was so funny. I just glanced over and saw it and just died laughing. So,
honestly, R2D2 is one of my more favorite characters.
R2D2 is great.
Yeah,
I'd take that.
I would take R2D2 over C3PO for sure.
Absolutely, he's consistent. He's always that. He is capable as well.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I mean, if I ever get in some sort of jam or whatever, like, you might be one of the first friends I call. Because
I like how you caveated that with might. So.
Well, I mean, you're in a different state than me, so depending on the jam, it's not like.
For sure. Yeah.
Hayden, I've got a flat tire. Can you come help me? 8 hours away. No. Depending on the situation. Yeah.
I had not too long ago. I had a friend who I will keep nameless call me up and said, "Hey, I'm in jail right now. Can you come pay my bail so I can get out?" And I'm like, "What did you do?" And they gave me this really like outlandish thing that I'm like, I should have just knew that they were pranking me, but I'm like, yeah, how much is it? And they're like $600,000. And I'm like, I don't know if I can get that much money together right now. I should have said, I don't even have that much money, or have I ever had that much money? But I was flattered that they would call me, and they gave me the reason why they would call me. But, yeah, I don't think I should be the first person anyone calls on their speed dial if they're in a jam. I think I should be like the third person.
Okay. That story is mind blowing. I've not heard it before.
It happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think.
Okay, I get that you don't want to share the name on the internet, but I would like you to text me the name of that person. Just so that it ended up being a prank / joke. But when I got the call, I was like getting ready to put my shoes on and head out the door. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Rogue One, to wrap this all the way back, Rogue One was the first movie I saw in theaters.
Okay. What did you think of Rogue One?
I really liked it. I think what the first movie, A New Hope, and the original trilogy did was they built this universe that now directors and storytellers can tell stories in.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, like, if you remove Obi-Wan and Anakin and Luke and Leia and Han, all those people, Star Wars is just like another fictional location, right? Like we don't really care about that. We care about the stories within it that then make us care more about the background. Like if you weren't so invested in Luke's story, I don't think you would make a channel about like the world of Star Wars and everything Star Wars, right? It was the initial story.
I don't know. I think maybe in a roundabout way I agree with you, but I also think that that's just how far Star Wars has come. And this world has been built so big that now, for example, The Mandalorian, okay? That TV show. You've watched Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, I have.
That's a story that has almost nothing to do with somebody like Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. Totally separate, but it's in the Star Wars world, and I'm seeing things that have been built up as Star Wars world that I'm like, wow, okay, I'm invested in this because that guy is wearing the same armor as Boba Fett. I want to know why.
So that was that was my point, was because you got invested in that initial story, we now have this whole world that directors and storytellers can come in and just make their own story in a world that's already been built for them, right?
So I'm trying to take your point and disagree with it when in reality it just made your point for you. Okay. Right.
So what I'm saying is, what was so cool about Rogue One was, even though it was a story we kind of knew, right? Like, it was going to have to do with the Death Star and how the rebels got the plans. Right. That's not the heart of the story. That's just the setting of the story, right? Like, the whole heart of the story is, don't tell me her name, because I literally just forgot it. I had her name. Now I can't remember her name. What's the main character's name?
In Rogue One?
Yeah.
Jyn Erso.
Jyn Erso. Okay. For whatever reason, I had Hayden Versio in my head from Battlefront.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to say Versio because then they're all going to light me up in the comics. But
yeah.
Jyn
Erso. But they're similar.
Jyn
like
Erso.
Jyn Erso, Hayden Versio. Yeah. I can see that. Honest mistake.
But you care about her and her love interest too. I actually forgot his name, but
Cassian Andor.
Yep. So that's what you end up like really enjoying about the movie. Yeah. It's just super cool that it stitches together with A New Hope, and obviously there's so much that you could make, and they're going to make, I assume, if they do the Obi-Wan TV show or movie.
Yeah.
About what happens afterwards, and really it's going to be nice for us, and that's what gets us to the theater, is to see how does this all line up in this grand story.
Absolutely.
But really, you care about the story long term, and that's what makes a movie a good movie, right? So
to your point, I've got a couple things that I just said 5, and then I really mean 2.
Yeah.
I don't want to bash the sequel trilogy at all.
And
I every time I watch Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, I enjoy them. I actually watched Rise of Skywalker today. That's the only Star Wars movie I've watched on Star Wars Day so far.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as I say what I'm about to say. But at the end of the day, I didn't, in the scope of Star Wars, didn't really care for the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard for me to reconcile 7, 8, 9 with 1 through 6.
Yeah.
But that's what got me to the theater every time, is I watched Force Awakens, and we had all sorts of questions like, oh man, who is this Snoke guy? Who's Rey? Like, what's her family name? Like, is she Obi-Wan? Is she Obi-Wan's granddaughter or whatever?
Yeah.
All those. That's what got me into the theaters for Last Jedi. I was hoping to get those answers. Didn't get those answers there. But same with Rise of Skywalker, is I wanted to see how this story was going to end. I wanted to see, like, okay, what is the outcome of this Skywalker saga? But so I think you're right. I forgot the second thing that I wanted to say. Oh, yeah. Were you going to say something?
I was going to say, I started out watching Star Wars on VHS, and now I'm at the point where I can just stream it on my phone. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, I think I actually have, reaching in a drawer right here. Here is the original trilogy on VHS box set edition. Yeah. Pretty
That is
sweet.
awesome.
I think I'm missing Return of the Jedi and its actual video. What do you call a VHS video? Just
cassette.
A cassette? Yeah. I'm
VHS
missing that
cassette.
one, but the other two are there. I don't even have the technology needed to play that.
Yeah. Who does anymore?
Austin's got a long chat here. It goes that there's a kid named Loompa who's captured by...
I think he's referring about if he had his own Star Wars story on his channel, would you see it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I didn't see that first one. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Do you have it up now? Yeah, let me know in the chat if you have it up.
I was going to say, I don't think he's a part of our Zoom call, so he can't answer you right now, but maybe we'll see.
Yeah, put it in if you have it up now, I'll totally go watch it after this. Or whenever you get it up. So, My last question for you as we kind of wrap up. We've been going.
Yeah.
I don't even know how long we've been going here, but
about an hour.
About an hour. So my last question is for you, Hayden. I know you're not the biggest Star Wars fan, but you're a big enough fan that you obviously want more Star Wars, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I will watch Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah. You should. You should for sure watch Clone Wars. At least there's a few episodes that you should watch, and then you should absolutely watch the final season. But,
yeah.
So with that in mind, what do you want to see from Star Wars in the next 5 years?
Oh.
And chat, you guys can answer this too. What do you want to see from Star Wars in the next 5 years?
Right off the bat, they said that they were going to make they're going to make a movie about the Old Republic days, right?
I don't know yet. They've got in the fall. They've got a wave of like High Republic stuff, which is
High Republic.
It's different because the Old Republic refers to like 1,000 years before the Skywalker saga, and even more than that. Whereas the High Republic that is coming out in the form of like books and comics and stuff in the fall is just 200 years before Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Well, then that's part of my answer. Old Republic would be really, really good. I loved playing Knights of the Old Republic. KOTOR was a lot of fun growing up. I would love to see that. What would I like to see from Star Wars next? I would like to see a lot more Disney Plus TV shows. I think with like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, all of these TV shows that we've got from them have been amazing. I think that we're very much in like the golden era of TV shows because we're getting so many, and a lot of them are bad. A lot of them are entertaining but not great, like Tiger King. But I just recently finished the newest season of Better Call Saul. And that show is so amazing. I didn't think it was going to be as good because I loved Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But if they could do something very similar to like a Better Call Saul, but with like some sort of auxiliary character, right? From either the sequels, prequels, or the OT. If they could take a character like that and not make the character of the movie be this like fabled savior of the universe. Like if they could do like a really, and they're kind of doing that with the Mandalorian. Like the Mandalorian is not the hero or like the savior of the galaxy, but he's still pretty like overpowered, right? Like he is a strong dude, and he always can make his way out of a fight. If they could do some sort of character, kind of like Han Solo, like morally gray kind of. I mean, at the end of Star Wars, you kind of see that he's become more morally white to an extent, but he's still got his gray side to him. If they could make something super interesting like Better Call Saul, where it just kind of explores like a human in this crazy, ridiculous universe that is Star Wars, I would be into that. I don't have any examples of like characters. Maybe the chat can like name somebody off. Aren't they doing a show for the love interest from Rogue One?
Yeah. Cassian Andor.
Getting a show? He, to me, does not seem overpowered. Like, he seems like he could actually have a pretty good story because he's not, like, always guaranteed to get out of a fight, you know?
Yeah.
I also
He's also in that gray area morally. Like, I don't know. If you remember that scene in Rogue One when, like,
he kills that informant.
Yeah, he talks to that informant that is like this terrified dude who's like, here's information you need, whatever, and he's like, all right, thanks for the info. You're a loose end. Boom, kills him.
Yeah, I think that what's great about like Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad is it's very human stories, right? Like Star Wars is amazing, but like for the most part, a lot of these characters are just these white characters, morally white characters, I should say, that are just
whoa,
or
dude,
white.
I don't like where we're going, man. Also, before you continue your thought, but we got to shout out Gavin is here. So
Heck
say hi to
Gavin.
And then also Sage Scorpion, they're here too.
Sage Scorpion.
Say hi to them.
That's awesome.
Anyways, you were saying about white people?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah. No, I think that movies like Star Wars, you have just these good guys that are like through and through good.
Right.
I like shows where they explore the people that I guess struggle with being good versus maybe their more human instinct to get power and money.
Yeah.
So I think kind of balancing those shows and TV shows and movies, because Star Wars is great and interesting, but I would like to see a little bit more I don't know, more diverse storytelling, I guess.
For sure. So that got me thinking, like, even just the way that, like, storytelling, like, whether it's movies or TV shows, has progressed. Because you look at the original trilogy of Star Wars, and all the characters, I mean, okay, you got Han Solo and stuff like that, but, like, Luke Skywalker, main hero of the original trilogy, is the most, like, cut and dry, like, archetype of a good guy. He's the most good guy hero you can get, noble, whatever. But I feel like storytelling and TV shows have progressed. I don't know if progressed is the right word, but it's come to a point where we as consumers, just like you said, we want to see stories about people that are living in that gray area. That it's not it's not a black and white, they're a good guy or a bad guy. They're like Cassian Andor, who is going to just kill an informant for no reason, but he's still the good guy. You know, I wonder, why do you think that is? I'm just curious.
I think on a very superficial level, I think that the original trilogy was made for kids.
Yeah.
And I think that, if not just kids, young adults. So I think that I think if you sat down a kid and made them watch through Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, you'd have to pay for a lot of therapy and counseling. So I think at the end of the day, like shows like that and movies that explore morality and what's ethical, it's great content for adults, but I don't think it's something that kids necessarily need to be watching. Right. So, I think that Disney knows its market and what people want to see, but I think what we were talking about Disney Plus earlier before we started the Zoom call is what's really going to make Disney Plus a big deal and a big part of the streaming platform is if they can offer non-young adult children's content. Right. If they can offer content that is interesting to adults, that will be a pretty big deal for them, I think.
Yeah, what do you think about, I agree with everything you just said. It got me thinking, I think we like those gray area characters because however bad it sounds, I think they're more relatable, right? I mean, I don't know about you. As much as I would love to say this about myself, I am not as noble and do the right thing, do the good thing as Luke Skywalker is. Yeah. I'm not... Like, Luke Skywalker is goals. I would like to be like that, but I'm not. So when I see somebody like, well, here's the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Anakin Skywalker. Yeah. When I see somebody like Anakin Skywalker, a little bit more relatable than Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it's also just kind of a saturation thing. Right. I think that we have so many stories about this this fabled child who is going to come up through the ranks and is going to save the universe or the planet or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's a reason why that story gets told over and over again. Is because we like that idea. And I think a part of us thinks, like, I am destined for greatness, just like Luke is, or, Jon Snow, or whoever you want to put in that, Aragorn, blah, blah, blah. But I think what really captivates us is the shows that are not like that. The shows that kind of show us that there is different heroes out there. Right. And also, we don't have to personify with the hero. We can personify with the person who is, not the savior of the universe or things like that. So
totally. Yeah, I mean, I think I think we love watching that stereotypical archetype of a cut and dry hero, because at the end of the day, probably all of us are like, man, I wish I was as noble as like Captain America or something like that.
Yeah.
But also at the end of the day, we finish the day knowing that, all right, I actually am not that, but I see that somebody else is doing good things.
Yeah.
And they're maybe not the perfect person.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. Yeah. I think that these stories are a lot of fun, and they're really effective, and they seem to have a lot of effect on people. But I think the real staying power is in those stories that explore the in between. So
for sure, yeah.
If we're talking about Star Wars in the next 5 years, I want to propose a crossover series of Better Call Saul and the sequel trilogy, where Rey gets into a fender bender flying one of her ships, and she has to hire Saul Goodman to be her lawyer in court. I don't know what it would look like, but it just seems interesting to me.
Did I already tell you that I have not seen that show?
You've seen Breaking Bad, right?
No.
Oh my god!
I know. So at this point, I haven't seen Breaking Bad because it's largely a pride thing. I've made it this far not watching Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch it. But
it's like having pride in the fact that you've never ate pizza. It's like you might think it's a pride thing, but we're all sitting there like, man, this dude is missing out on such a great part of life.
I know.
I don't know anything that I can tell you that would make you watch it. Like, I imagine everyone's told you need to watch that show.
Probably.
I would say Breaking Bad is maybe the best television show of all time, and the last 2 or 3 seasons of Better Call Saul have blown my mind. The first season and maybe the second season, if I can remember correctly, were not as good. I remember watching it and being like, "Oh, this is okay, but it's not great." And then the last 2 seasons, I've been absolutely amazed with the show. So that's what everyone came for on May 4th, is to hear me talk about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Like this was a Star Wars channel, right? No, it's a Better Call Saul now.
Better Call Saul channel, dude. That's an audience right there.
I think we talked about this before we actually went live, but speaking of Breaking Bad, if you go on to like IMDb's top rated TV shows, hit their top 10. Breaking Bad, I think it's their finale episode that is like number 1 on IMDb of like, this is the most top rated according to our platform TV episode of all time.
Yeah.
But you jump down to 4, 5, and 6, and the last 3 episodes of the Clone Wars occupy that spot. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll bring it back to Star Wars.
Do those episodes feature Anakin and Obi-Wan pretty heavily?
Briefly. So
okay.
The thing with these last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars, and I know some of you in the chat are up on it because you've been watching my breakdowns and you've commented on them. But the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars actually run parallel to Revenge of the Sith. But it wraps up some of the Clone Wars characters that we don't see in Revenge of the Sith. It gives us their story within the Revenge of the Sith. So, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it too much because I do think that you should go back and watch those at some point.
Okay. I have some questions for you, Chris.
Okay. Yeah.
What is one character from Star Wars that you wish they would have explored more, either in the TV shows or the movies? Or graphic novels or books?
Yeah. It's hard to say because, I mean, a lot of Star Wars characters have been explored in all those alternate platforms. Like, I mean, one example is Boba Fett. He gets, like, what? A few minutes of screen time in Empire Strikes Back, and all of a sudden he's one of the most iconic villains in Star Wars, but they don't really explore him until they get to, like, I don't know, they look at him in Clone Wars a little bit in some books and stuff, but I think it'd be cool to see more Boba Fett on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's one. If you asked me this 5 years ago, I would have said Darth Maul, but they've now fleshed him out to be one of the most dynamic characters in Star Wars. Like, I don't think there's a villain that's better than him. Maybe Darth Vader. Darth Vader's better than Maul, but Maul's probably the second best in terms of character development and stuff. I know I'm dancing around your question, and I'm really just trying to buy time to figure out which character I would want to see explored more that hasn't been. And Kit Fisto.
Okay.
Kit Fisto. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't think I do.
So he's that green Jedi that's got like all the tentacles.
Oh, yeah.
He pushes that battle droid with the Force in Attack of the Clones and like smiles, whatever. So
yeah,
I don't know. Kit Fisto. Let's get a.
That was a good
Fisto
answer, but it
standalone.
wasn't the right one.
What was the right answer?
I don't even know his name, but that the Jedi that set up the cloning facility on Camino.
Oh, Sifo Dyas?
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually just finished a book. It focuses on Count Dooku as like a young guy and a young Jedi. And he was like best friends with Sifo Dyas. So
yeah. I remember when I rewatched that in November when Disney Plus came out. That was the one character that I went in Wikipedia because I'm like, this guy seems like his name is interesting, but also I want to know like why he set up the cloning facility. What was what was going on in his life? So he seems kind of interesting to me. I would watch. He's cool. Read something about him.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Getting more of him. I mean, across all the mediums of Star Wars, we've gotten a lot of those answers that you probably initially have when you watch Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
We've gotten those addressed, but he's still a character that is just so interesting. I mean, it's interesting to think about this guy that was like so stressed out about like a galaxy-wide conflict that he went and commissioned an army for the Republic. But
my next question for you, Chris, you have to invite 3 Star Wars characters over to your house for a dinner party. So here's the 3 roles of these characters. One of them's going to cook dinner.
Okay.
One of them's going to entertain the party while you guys are eating and having fun.
Okay.
And the third person is going to stick around afterwards to help you clean up and take care of all the other things. So, who are those 3 people?
Padme.
Padme is what role?
Yes.
Okay.
Just kidding.
All right,
dude. She would be the one cooking the meal. Actually, she would cook the meal. Here's why.
Okay.
Here's why. This doesn't really...
Okay.
But I follow Natalie Portman on Instagram.
Okay.
And she has just gone on like this... During this quarantine time, almost every day she is posting a video about some recipe she's cooking.
Yeah.
And it looks good. So I assume that Natalie Portman's cooking abilities transfer to a character she portrays in Star Wars. So there's that one. The one that I want entertaining people is Jar Jar.
Jar Jar? Okay. That's a good answer.
I feel like Jar Jar would just be entertaining.
Sorry, I read Matt's Matt's answer is pretty good.
So Matt's cooking, Palpatine entertaining, Yoda is not helping. I like that. That's pretty funny.
I just like to imagine Matt's cooking and he's like, should I put some more cayenne in this? And Palpatine's like, do it.
Yoda's like, do or do not. There is no try. Only whatever that quote is. Butchering that quote.
And then who'd you say was cleaning up?
So cleaning up is probably gonna be C-3PO.
Yeah.
He seems like one that I can just give him the task, like, hey bro, I need you to clean up, and then I can leave.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would have Qui-Gon clean up with me. He just seems like a good one-on-one time kind of deal, you know?
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I guess you're thinking like the person you're cleaning up with is like the one who is most invested in your friendship, and they're like, all right, let me hang around and like
Yeah.
you and I time.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna have to ask Qui-Gon
Qui-Gon.
to I'm not gonna have to ask Qui-Gon to stick around. Like he's gonna offer to help.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna just get to know each other better. Cooking. Honestly, I would pick R2D2 because I've seen his skills with oil and fire, so I think he's gonna be able to do something pretty well.
Yeah.
And then entertaining, man. I really wish that Matt didn't say Palpatine because that's really funny and I want to say it, but or not cooking, like, entertaining.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? Maybe it'll give me time to find my answer.
Did you ever hear the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
See, that would be so entertaining.
Your whole party's
to hear
like,
all of his stories.
No, who is Darth Plagueis? Tell us the story.
Yeah,
Palpatine.
I think entertaining Han Solo. You don't like that answer, huh?
I don't think Han Solo would be entertaining. I think he would just sit in the corner of your party and just, I don't know, he'd probably just drink a lot or something.
Okay. Well, then I'll have him as a fourth person just sitting in the corner drinking and holding a blaster underneath the table.
Shooting first, right?
Yeah. I think entertaining, I'd probably have one of the two people that confronted Luke at the what is that? At the place on the cantina at Mos Eisley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have one of those guys entertained. I feel like they've been through a lot being out on the Outer Rim.
Yeah, that's fair. Got their arms chopped off by Obi-Wan. Yeah.
That's why I would not invite Obi-Wan to the party. I would invite Qui-Gon.
Obi-Wan would just be like, You had too much to drink. Lightsaber, arms off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So those are my answers. I think your answers are better. I think Matt's answers are the best.
Yeah, so. Matt's the best. I took answering that question too seriously. I thought about it too much. Matt just went with the flow and was like, you know what? In my own party, I'd be cooking and I'd have the two arch enemies, Palpatine and Yoda.
Yeah.
They'd be there.
Connor asked a long time ago, I don't know if he's still watching, but he asked what your favorite map on Battlefront 2 is.
Connor, shout out if you're still there. Let us know in the comments. My favorite map on Battlefront is probably Camino.
Wow.
Yeah. I just like it. It's got some long range stuff, but if you get inside the cloning facility, it's got some short range stuff too. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's like my least favorite map.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes you get stuck on a match where there's a ton of snipers, and I hate it. But I also like just playing as the clones. They're my favorite faction to play as. So
they are kind of fun to play as.
Oh, Faith. Her comment. That's actually, I like it.
Yeah.
Dexter can cook. Mm-hmm. We actually see him. He owns a diner, so makes sense. The Kaminoans are doing the dancing like in Lego Star Wars. It's been a while since I played Lego Star Wars, but I vaguely remember that. So that's entertaining. And then Obi-Wan is the greeter for the party.
That is probably the deepest cut. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there. Welcome to the party. Hello there. Yeah.
Could you imagine just a sequel TV show where Obi-Wan is just like a receipt checker at Walmart and that's all he does? He's like, hello there.
Hello there.
And they or at Costco, so he's just like looking at it and then makes a little circle around one of the items you bought. And,
hello there.
And just lets you leave. Yeah.
He drops yourself. I have failed you, customer. I have failed you. Runs back.
I would be so happy to see Obi-Wan checking my receipt at Costco.
Yeah. Well, man, I think we're gonna wrap up this stream. How long have we been talking Star Wars here?
An hour.
Hour.
2 hours. I don't know.
2
Time
hours?
is.
It's one or the other. It's 1 hour or 2 hours. Those are two.
What time do we start? We have a time zone difference. We start at 7:30 Mountain Time, so it's only been an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. That's good. That's good.
This is relatively short considering our Battlefront streams.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. So, I mean, I am gonna do a Battlefront stream later tonight. So.
I might join you on that one.
I'll let you know, but I know. Yeah. I know I did promise a Battlefront stream last night to you and even to people on the channel, but the new episode of Clone Wars dropped early, and I was like, nope, I'm watching this.
Gotta check it out, man.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna wrap up here, but I do want to, just because Austin just mentioned that his phone wallpaper is the Sith code. I just have to highlight that mine is the Jedi code. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. Small world there. Yeah, guys. Thanks for joining us. Of course, this is Hayden. Yeah. Thank you for being here all the way from Seattle.
Yeah. Live long and prosper, all my Star Wars fans.
Right. Happy Revenge of the Sixth. Wait. May 4th, whatever.
I thought that was a joke, but you look too serious for that to be a joke, man.
Straight facing. So yeah, thanks for being here. I appreciate the support on the channel. As always, let me know what you want from the channel, and here soon, probably after I end this stream, I'm going to make sure that I add the link to the Instagram and Twitter account for this channel. I don't know. If you're into more Star Wars content, then great. But,
isn't your Twitter more for politics?
Yeah, I talk about just Star Wars politics. Like, and I disagree with Palpatine. I don't think we need a more central government like an empire, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, we're gonna end the stream, and I'm gonna finish up my breakdown on the finale of the Clone Wars. Hopefully, have that posted up in the next hour or so. And then later tonight, probably do a stream on Battlefront, celebrate May 4th, so feel free to join in on any of that.
Yeah.
Hayden, do you have any last words? And then it's over.
Just go follow my YouTube channel, Northwest Corner, on YouTube and Twitch. So
it's over, Hayden. I have the power to end this Zoom meeting and stream.
Did you end the stream?
No, not yet.
I think that you should just cut off the stream.